you're a soldier, and war is a person. In this poem, the poet confronts war about his powerful yet ultimately superficial and hollow nature. At first, you introduced me to young women in bars. You were large, and with a large hand, you presented them in different cities. Maybe in San Luis Obispo, drunk on French 75s, and in Los Angeles, on street cafes. There was a time of general confusion, of being a body hurled at a wall. I didn't do much fighting. I I stood in a foxhole. But when I did fight, it felt unusual. It felt unusual that the entire object of my existence was to eliminate Japanese soldiers by killing them with a rifle or with a grenade. But many years after that, I'd write poetry, fall in love, have a daughter, and think about these things from a great distance, if I survived. I was paying my debt to society, a paid killer. It wasn't like anything I'd ever done before on the paved streets of Cincinnati or on the ballroom floor at Mr. B's dancing class. What would Anne-Marie Goldsmith have thought of me if instead of asking her to dance, I put my gun to my shoulder and shot her in the face? I thought about her in my foxhole. One in a foxhole near me had his throat cut during the night. We do take precautions, but it is night, and it is you. But I can't be killed because of my poetry. I have to live on in order to write it. It was saving me. My Uncle Leo wrote to me. He told me, you know, one day you are gonna wish you were footloose and 20 on Late again. I've never wanted to be on Late again. With you whispering in my ear, go on and win me. Tomorrow you may not be alive, so do it today. How could I ever win you? How many persons would I have to kill in order to even begin to be a part of winning you? You were too much for me, though I was older than you were, adding camouflage. But for you, who put everything together and had all these systems working for you, this was trivial. If you could use me, you'd use me and then forget. How else did I think you behave? I'm glad that you ended. I'm glad that I didn't die or lose my mind, because as machines make ice, we made dead enemy soldiers in dark jungle alleys with weapons that shot fire and kept going straight through. I was carrying one. I, who had gone for years as a child praying, God, don't let there ever be another war. Or if there is, don't let me be a part of it. Well, I wasn't you. And all you cared about was existing and being one. You died of a bomb blast in Nagasaki, and there were parades.
Good morning. My name is Lena Billy Echo, and the title of my poem is Faith. It is about asking God to take away our doubt and our fear and give us His strength. I looked into the eyes of my 5-year-old self, so much envy because she had no idea what it was to doubt. Her hopes were as high as the cookie jar on the top shelf, kneeling beside her bed every morning and night, finding so much delight in talking to the stars from her bedroom window. Despite the madness that was her life, a day never passed without her asking, God, can you help me? 12 years later, and her lips have been silenced by life's anxiety, her mind tampered with by society, the ideas they forced into her head about your falsity leave her conflicted about reality, can barely keep her sanity, so she screams, God, can you help me? But no answer. Her tears turn into an ocean of dissatisfaction when she sits at the back of the church, wishing she could believe everything the preacher was saying, wishing she could go back to praying, God, can you help me? God, do you hear me? God, why do you forsake me? I kneel at the edge of my bed, waiting for the day I will be able to live beyond the shadow of a doubt. Waiting for my faith to no longer be small enough to fit in the cracks of my palms, God, can you help me? Sitting in a classroom and the only thing being tested is my faith in you. Do I believe in the theory of evolution? To every problem, is there a solution? God, can you help me? I have no confidence in the things I hope for, no assurance in the things I cannot see, God. Can you help me? I sleep, but I never rest, God. Can you help me? I'm not questioning you. I just have questions for you, God. Do you hear me? I know you're there, I just don't know where. And I've heard that you're graceful. All I want is to be faithful. But my faith has never been bigger than my fears, and nothing is ever as it appears. And yes, I'm scared of what it will cost me. My doubt has already taken everything from me. God, can you help me? I've been walking by sight, not by faith, and I'm surprised I've held on this long. God, can you help me? If only faith could be passed down like an old family picture, my faith would be strong enough to move mountains, and my trust, like a crumpled piece of paper made new, would be fully dedicated to you. God, please hear me. I need you to help me.
Family holidays should be the source of happy memories. A family trip overseas should be even more special. But sadly, some holiday experiences fail to live up to these expectations, as this poem, an adaptation of The Lion and Albert, recounts. The Ramsbottams were out on vacation. They had traveled to far-off Japan. Perusing through the local attractions, they had settled themselves on a plan. They spotted the big park in Ueno that's noted for its fresh air and fun. And Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom went there with young Albert, their son. A grand little lad was young Albert, and they had dressed him in his Sunday best, with polished black shoes, a jaunty wee hat, and a red velvet bow tie and vest. They didn't think much of the blossom, flowers, and such went their thing, and temples and statues of Buddha. For Albert, the word was boring. Now sensing that Albert was restless, they bought him a samurai sword. Not real, but one made of plastic. You're such a good boy type reward. And seeking for further amusement, they paid and went into the zoo to look at the pandas and cheetahs and gibbons and leopards and lorises too. Come, look at this ringtail lemur, cried Mrs. Ramsbottom, enthused. But lemurs and tails with rings on left Albert, her boy, unamused. There was this big lion called Wallace. His nose was all covered with scars. He lay in a somnolent posture with the side of his face on the bars. Now Albert had heard about lions being frightening, ferocious, and wild. And with Wallace, they're lying so peaceful. Well, it didn't seem right to the child. So straight away, the brave little fellow, not showing a morsel of fear, withdrew from his sheath the samurai sword and thrust it in Wallace's ear. Well, you could see the lion didn't like it. He opened his mouth very wide, then clamped his jaws on the arm of the lad and promptly pulled him inside. Well, not to be graphic or morbid, young Albert did not give much fight, but was munched up and crunched up and swallowed in nothing much more than a bite. No, Pa, who had seen the occurrence, found himself at a bit of a loss, said, Mother, young lion, that's Albert. And Mother said, well, I am, of course. The Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom, quite rightly, when all said and done, summoned the animal keeper to tell him the fate of their son. At first, there was a fair bit of bowing. Then both parents, they tried to explain, but because of the language and subject, they did so again and again. Well, the keeper expressed his misgivings. Monsieur, know this, he said, but Ma pointed out that the once scrawny Wallace was now looking very well fed. The keeper still tried to deny. Ma Wallace, he didn't do that. But Pa said, now listen, I know what I saw, and look, under his paw, there's his hat. The manager had to be sent for, and he wanted to know what was what. So Pa said, your lion, that's Albert, his sword, and his clothing, the law. The manager wanted no trouble. He took out his purse right away, saying, how much to settle the matter? And Pa said, how much will you pay? But Mother had turned a bit awkward as she pondered the fate of her boy. She said no to the offer of money, and no to the soft lion toy. Instead, it was to the police station, where she started to rant and to rave, saying that even a lion should know what are manners and know what it is to behave. The sergeant, he murmured, Daiju, that no one was really to blame, and he said that he hoped the Ramsbottoms would have further sons to their name. Well, at that, Mother got proper blazing. Daijabu, said she. What waste all our lives raising children? To feed ruddy lions? Not me.
Girls all over the world today suffer from a lack of self-confidence. This poem, entitled Just Like You, takes you into the mind of a teenage girl as she struggles to find her own self-worth. Instead of constantly comparing herself to others, she learns to love herself. Where is your confidence, Miriam? Why do you not strut down the hall so perfectly put together, flaunting those new earrings you bought off a whim? Like her. Why do you hold your book so close to your chest? And why do you never lift your big hair? And why is your frizzy hair always covering your face? She doesn't do that. She's not afraid to show her skin. She doesn't hide behind thick frames on her face because she is perfect in every single way. Why can't you be more like her, Miriam? Why does no one like you, Miriam? Why can't you do anything without people laughing at you, Miriam? You will never be like her, Miriam. You will never be pretty or sweet like candy that you're not supposed to eat because that flat stomach is not easy to achieve and you are already failing. You shouldn't have an opinion. Keep your thin chapped lips shut because what you have to say is not important and neither are you. Because intelligence is a trait merely treated as a side dish, one you weren't supposed to consume. Heaven forbid you get fat. Your teeth will never shine, your skin will never glow, your eyes will never sparkle. In fact, they swell up in the morning after you cry yourself to sleep. This will help your disgusting oily skin, Miriam, and this will tame the jungle that you have for hair, and this will make your eyelashes longer so that you can be just like them. You tell yourself they have good intentions, but everything they mention only makes it worse. Because you are ugly, and you will never be like her. You will never have her beautiful blue eyes and her long blonde hair. You wouldn't even dream of having her perfect skin and her tiny waist. Your stomach, not meant for intaking, your mouth only for terminating, your heart only meant for breaking, and your brain only used for faking. You keep looking in that mirror, trying to convince yourself why every little thing is wrong, and it is working. You are beating yourself up on the inside. But just put on a fake smile and pretend everything's okay. But how can you expect anyone to like you when you don't even like yourself? You are feeding yourself false hope that when you change yourself to be perfect, when you don't even recognize the stranger standing in the mirror, that you will finally be happy. You will go so far to change everything that you think is so strange that you won't even remember who you are. Is that really what you want? Will you really be happy with your decisions and your life? This is what we go through and completely overlook every single day. We are bounded by society's shackles and do nothing because this is all we know. Being tall, skinny, tan, and pretty, and castigating those who aren't has become a social standard. Will you be happy that you threw away your love for eating all your favorite foods whenever you wanted, and wearing whatever you wanted, even if it was that same shirt that you wear every day? You are beautiful, kind, brave, intelligent, the most amazing person in the world. Don't sit in the corner of your dark room and cry because you don't like you. Instead, go out and prove to everyone why they should like you too. Because you're stuck with what you've got. And until you learn to love it, no one else will. You'll never be like her. Because you are just like you.
3 minutes and 28 seconds.
the city of drum beats, the drum dream girl dreamed of pounding tall conga drums, tapping small bongo drums, and boom, boom, booming with long, loud sticks on big, round, silvery, moonbright timbales. But everyone on the island of music and the city of drum beats believed that only boys should play drums, not girls. So Drum Dream Girl had to keep dreaming quiet, secret, drum beat dreams. At outdoor cafes that looked like men, she heard drums played by men. But when she closed her eyes, she could also hear her own imaginary music. When she walked under wind-wavy palm trees in a flower-bright park, she heard the whir of paired wings, the clack of woodpecker beaks, the dancing tap of women's footsteps, and the comforting pat of her own heartbeat. At carnivals, she listened to a rapid beat of towering dancers on stilts, and the dragon clang of costumed drummers wearing huge masks. At home, her fingertips rolled out their own dreamy drum rhythm on tables and chairs. And even though everyone kept reminding her that girls on the island of music had never played drums, the brave drum dream girl dared to play. Tall conga drums, small bongo drums, and big, round, silvery, moonbright timbales. Her hands seemed to fly as they rippled, grabbed, and pounded all the rhythms of her drum dreams. Her big sisters were so excited that they invited her to join their new all-girl dance band. But their father said only boys should play drums. So the drum dream girl had to keep dreaming and drumming alone. Until finally, her father offered to find a music teacher who could decide if her drums deserved to be heard. The drum dream girl's teacher was amazed. The girl knew so much, but he taught her more and more and more. And she practiced and she practiced and she practiced until the teacher agreed that she was ready to play tall conga drums and small bongo drums outdoors at a starlit cafe that looked like a garden, where everyone heard a dream-bright music, sang and danced, and decided that girls should always be allowed to play music and drums. And both girls and boys should feel free to dream. Thank you.
to admire the fish, because he himself is no stranger to struggle. Notice how the use of color and descriptive language add to both the meaning and the imagery of the poem. It also puts a whole new spin on the one that got away. I caught a tremendous fish and held him beside the boat, half of the water, my hook fast in the corner of his mouth. He didn't fight. He hadn't fought at all. He hung a grunting weight, battered and venerable and homely. Here and there, his brown skin hung in strips like ancient wallpaper, and its pattern of darker brown was like wallpaper, shapes like full-blown roses, stained and lost to age. He was speckled with barnacles, fine rosettes of lime, and infested with tiny white sea lice. And underneath, 2 or 3 rags of green weed hung down. While his gills were breathing in the terrible oxygen, the frightening gills, fresh and crisp with blood that can cut so badly. I thought of the coarse white flesh packed in like feathers, the big bones and the little bones, the dramatic reds and blacks of his shining entrails, and the pink swim bladder, like a big peony. I looked into his eyes, which were far larger than mine, but shallower and yellowed, the irises backed and packed with tarnished tinfoil seen through the lenses of old scratched isinglass. They shifted a little, but not to return my stare. It was more like the tipping of an object toward the light. I admired his sullen face, the mechanism of his jaw, and then I saw that from his lower lip, if you could call it a lip, grim, wet, and weapon-like, hung 5 old pieces of fish line, or 4 and a wire leader with the swivel still attached, with all their 5 big hooks grown firmly in his mouth. A green line frayed at the end where he broke it, 2 heavier lines, and a fine black thread still crimped from the strain and the snap when it broke and he got away. Like metals with their ribbons, frayed and wavering, a 5-haired beard of wisdom trailing from his aching jaw. I stared and stared, and victory filled up the little rented boat. From the pool of the bilge where oil had spread a rainbow around the rusted engine to the baler rusted orange, the sun-cracked thwarts, the oarlocks on their strings, the gunwales, until everything was rainbow, rainbow, rainbow. And I let the fish go.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
continually chasing him and delivering a barrage of homophobic epithets. The teens eventually caught Howard, who collapsed due to his asthma. The teens began to beat him and decided to throw him off the edge of a bridge and into the river, despite his pleas in which he claimed he could not swim. The poem I will be presenting today is inspired by these true events and deals with the subjects of both homophobia and of unexpected forgiveness. My name is Maya Russell, and today I will be presenting Charlie Howard's Descent. Between the bridge and the river, he falls through a huge portion of night. It is not as if falling is something new. Over and over, he slipped into the gulf between what he knew and how he was known. What others wanted opened like an abyss. The laughing store clerks at the grocery, women at the luncheonette, amused by his gestures. What could he do? Live with one hand tied behind his back? So he began to fall into the star-faced section of night, between the trestle and the water, because he could not meet a little town's demands. And his earrings shone, and his wrists were as limp as they were. I imagine he took the insults in and made of them a place to live. We learn to use the names because they are there. Familiar furniture. Faggot was the bed he slept in. Hard and white but simple. Somehow. Queer. Something sharp. But finally useful. A tool. All the jokes, a chair, stiff-backed to keep his spine straight, a table, a lamp, and because he's fallen for 23 years. Despite whatever awkwardness his flailing arms and legs assume, he is beautiful. And like any good diver, has only an edge of fear. He transforms into grace, or else he is not afraid. And in this way, climbs back up the ladder of his fall, out of the river and into the arms of the 3 teenage boys who hurled him from the edge. Really, boys now. Afraid. Their father's cars shivering behind them, headlights on, and tells them it's all right. That he knows they didn't believe him when he said he couldn't swim, and blesses his killers in the way that only the dead can afford to forgive.
Are your parents here? Are you okay? I'm sorry. We're taking a video, so maybe we can share it with them later. Thank you for controlling your cell phone so that it doesn't bother our poet. And please don't take any videos. Thank you for understanding. Go ahead.
Does music imitate the natural sounds around us? Or do the sounds around us be filtered by the music we listen to? In the poem, The Idea of Order at Key West, the speaker cannot identify between the singer, the song, and the sounds of the oceans she listens to. As the poem progresses, we too wonder who this mysterious singer is by the side of the sea, and how the song changes his view on the town he and find return to. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. She sang beyond the genius of the sea. The water never formed to my mere voice, like a body, holy body, fluttering its empty sleeves. And yet its mimic motion made constant cry, caused constantly a cry that was not ours, although we understood, inhuman of the veritable ocean. The sea was not a mask, nor more was she. The song and water were not medleyed sound. Even if what she sang was what she heard, since what she sang was uttered word by word. It may be that in all her phrases stirred the grinding water and the gasping wind, but it was she, and not the sea, we heard. She was the maker of the song she sang. The ever-hooded, tragic-gestured sea was merely a place by which she walked to sing. Whose spirit is this? We asked, because we knew it was the spirit that we sought and knew we should ask this often as she sang. If it was only the dark voice of the sea that rose or even colored by many waves, if it was only the outer voice of the sky and clouds of the sunken coral waterlogged, however clear, it would have been deep air, the heaving speech of air, a summer sound repeated in a summer without end and sound alone. But it was more than that, more even than her voice and ours among the meaningless plungings of water and wind. Theatrical distances, bronze shadows heaped over high horizons, mountainous atmospheres of sky and sea. It was her voice that made the sky acutest and astonishing. She measured the hour to its solitude. She was the single artificer of the world in which she sang, and when she sang, the water, whatever self it had, became the self that was her song, for she was the maker. Then we, as we beheld her striding there alone, knew that there was never a world for her, except for the world she sang and singing made. Ramon Fernandez, tell me, if you know, why, when the singing ended and we turned towards the town, tell why the glassy lights, the lights of the fishing boats and anchor there, as the night descended, tilting the air, mastered the night and portioned up the sea, fixing in blazing zones and fiery poles, arranging, deepening, enchanting night. Oh, blessed rage for order! Pale Ramon, the maker's rage to order out words of the sea, words of fragment portals, dimly starred, and of ourselves and our origins, in ghostlier demarcations, keener sounds.
I'll be presenting today is called The Long Meadow, and it essentially talks about a man, or the son of righteousness, who is on this journey to find heaven. But when he gets there, he finds something that he doesn't expect, which forces him to reevaluate his beliefs on justice and the afterlife. Near the end of one of the old poems, the Son of Righteousness, the source of virtue and civility, on whose back the kingdom is carried, as on the back of the tortoise the earth is carried, passes into the next world. The wood is dark. The wood is dark, and on the other side of the wood, the sea is shallow, warm, endless. In and around it, there is no bit of life. So little is the atmosphere charged with possibility that he might as well be wading through a flooded basement. He waits on for what seems like forever and never stops to rest in the shade of the metro rain trees, springing out of the water at fixed intervals. Time, though endless, is also short, so he wades on until he walks out of the sea and into the mountains, where he burns on the windward slopes and freezes in the valleys. And after unendurable struggles, he finally arrives at the celestial realm. The god waits there for him. The god invites him to enter, but looking through the glowing portal, he sees on that happy plain not those he think wait eagerly for him, his beloved, his brothers, his companions in war and exile, all long since dead and gone, but sitting pretty and enjoying the gorgeous sunset. His cousin and bitter enemy, the cause of that war, that exile, whose arrogance and vicious indolence plunged the world into grief. The god informs him that, yes, those he loved have been carried down the river of fire. Their thirst for justice offended the cosmic powers, who are jealous of justice. In their place in the celestial realm called Aluikika in the ancient texts, the breaker of faith is now glorified. I mean, he at least acted in keeping with his nature. Who has not felt a little of the despair that the Son of Righteousness now feels, staring wildly around him? The god watches, not without compassion, and a certain wonder. This is the final illusion, the one to which all the others lead. He has to pierce through it himself without divine assistance. He will take a long time about it, with only his dog to keep him company. The mongrel dog, celebrated down the millennia, who has waited with him, shivered and burned with him, and never abandoned him to his loneliness. That dog bears a slight resemblance to my dog, a skinny, restless, needy, overprotective mutt who was rescued from a crack house by Seisen. On weekends, and when I can shake free during the week, I take her to the long meadow in Prospect Park, where dogs are allowed off the leash in the early morning. She's gray-muzzled and old now, but you can't tell that by the way she runs. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming to poetry interpretation. Please remember that we're not going to take any videos or let your cell phones go off while our poet is speaking. Thank you for listening.
Hello, I'm Jose Troy, and today I'll be reciting Insomnia, talking about the struggles of constantly not being able to sleep. I can't sleep. It's always the same. I get to my room, exhausted, lie on my bed. I close my eyes. Nothing. Now I hear what the house has to say. The old walls, pipes clanging, water running in the dark, the old drab walls shifting in discomfort, and the voices mounting in an endless drone like the sounds of a family that year by year I've learned how to ignore. To sleep is to restore, but my battery isn't dead. My brain powers on, but my body cries for bed. Just one more thought. Please hear me out. A memory or a wish? Please, I want to sleep. I need to sleep. Please, please let me sleep. Maybe if I go to my computer and surf for a while, I could doze off. No. Or maybe I could go on a walk. No. No, this insomnia is different. I can't fix it with such simple solutions. No. 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 This wakefulness is not due to an anxiety of an exam or the diffidence I have for that one guy I can't get out of my head. This insomnia is that small sparkle of uncertainty that has abounded my mind for a long time. That feeling of vagueness, of yearning. Of what? I don't know. It is simply that feeling that I'm missing something. Whatever it is, I go around the whole day in my mind. What am I missing? What am I forgetting? During the day, I'm acquiescent, lucid, and happy. But come night, time to go to bed. The night is the hardest time to be alive, and 4 a.m. knows all of my secrets. I twist in the sheets, remembering all the faces I could not bring myself to love, including myself. There's something missing, always missing. I can't sleep. It's always the same. I get to my room, exhausted, and lie on my bed. I close my eyes. To nothing. Why? Why me? I curse life. I curse myself. Why? Why? Will I ever be able to sleep peacefully like my little brother next door?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming to poetry interpretation. We're ready for our last poem. And thank you for remembering to manage our cell phone so that it doesn't bother our poet.
Gender stereotypes exist in many different worlds, including the virtual one. In this poem entitled Princess Peach Speaks, we get to hear what the innocent princess from Super Mario Brothers really has to say. Thanks, Mario! I guess. For fighting those Koopa Troopers, riding on the backs of dolphins, and traveling all the way to Star World to save me. You keep saying it was a lot of hard work. How you almost lost all of your 99 lives. How I should be grateful. But from my corner of the castle, it looked a lot like adventure. But what do I know? I'm just a kid caught up in a tree. I get to sit in this 8-bit castle, guarded by a fire-breathing turtle. And I've been here for however long it's taken you to get past that freaking flying level. And now, of course, what I want to do is get married, enter into another imprisonment called matrimony with you. You, whose brother wears the exact same outfit as you, but in a different color, like twin little freaking infants. You, whose brother is constantly whispering to my ear, "Dang, Peach, if only I'd got to you first." But your princess is in another castle, filing her taxes, because she's a princess, and she makes a heck of a lot more money than you do, Mario. When she needs her toilet unclogged, she'll call you Mario. But your princess is in another castle. I don't know, preparing to inherit rule of an entire country? Princess Peach got work to do. Princess already brushed her hair today. Now Princess got to make some phone calls, send some emails, get her bog gown fitted just right. Oh! You thought Princess was trapped by Bowser? Maybe Princess hired Bowser as a bouncer because she didn't have time to reject you at the door. What makes you think every time Princess doesn't answer, it means she needs your help? Can't a woman get some alone time around here to deal with her stuff? What stuff, you ask? I don't know. Body image, rape culture, gender roles, motherhood, the fact that no one will let her wear anything other than a pink dress. You ride a dinosaur that comes in more colors than I do. I never get to ride a dinosaur. You fought off a baseball-throwing football player, and now you think you're entitled to Peach's peach? I should have stayed with Bowser, because at least he called himself a monster. At least I knew what he was. Not some one-dimensional super nerd who thinks human decency is unattainable. Who thinks a savior complex gets me fired up. You're the date who buys me a nice dinner, then calls me a tease when I don't let you upstairs. You're the guy on the street who tells me to smile before cutting into me. You're all the states in America where it is legal to rape your wife. So thank you, Mario. Here's a level. You can beat it. Get a life.
That was so much.
Thanks again.